Hello Planet Internet, I am Emperor Cole. This is Emperor Cole Film Review, brought to you by MindbenderENT.com. And today I'm here to review X-Men Apocalypse. Every man, woman, and mutant, let's get ready to take this journey together. So let me start off by saying X-Men Apocalypse is one of my three most anticipated films of 2016. The other two being Batman vs. Superman and Captain America Civil War. So X-Men Apocalypse is the fourth movie to be directed by Bryan Singer. Singer did X-Men 1 and 2. He also did X-Men Days of Future Past, which is a classic. And now here he is with X-Men Apocalypse, his fourth film in the X-Men franchise. There are overall, I believe, 9 movies total if you include Deadpool. And let me start off by saying the origins of Apocalypse were handled very well and is true to the comic book in this film. If you're not familiar with the character Apocalypse, he is the very first mutant to ever be on Earth, thus making him pretty much the most powerful mutant overall, or at least in the top 3 in the overall Marvel universe. Apocalypse is my favorite villain of the X-Men series of all time. Why? Because he's so arrogant and cocky with his powers and just feels like nobody can mess with him. And he's got some classic dialogue where he says some really slick things that only Apocalypse could say and get away with, like a couple of these right here.
How many peoples have dreamed of my end? You are no closer than the Babylonians with their swords and fire sticks. But then again, I am given pause to wonder. Is it possible you are correct, mutant? I have been battling your kind for thousands of years. I am to have triumphed long ago. But what if, like tortured Sisyphus, I cannot win? It's a cruel joke. Am I doomed to struggle with such filth until the end of time?
Oscar Isaac did a decent job at playing the character Apocalypse. His acting was okay, but the way the character was presented, obviously by the director and the studio, the fact that they wanted him to be a little bit softer and not quite as grandiose as he appears in the comic book and the cartoon, was a little bit unsettling to me. But also, when you're dealing with a character who's this strong, there are gonna be some inconsistencies in his powers. What I mean is, there are some scenes where Apocalypse is so strong, he waves his hand and people fall out dead. And then there are other scenes where he's not just waving his hand and people are falling out dead, he's actually struggling with people who are nowhere near as strong or as powerful as he's supposed to be. So that inconsistency made the character a little not as good as it could have been. One area that this movie really lacked in a lot is character development. And I'm guessing this is somewhat expected whenever you have movies that have multiple characters in them, like over 7 or 8 people. You're not going to have time to get into everybody's backstory or always get into the rhyme or reason or the motivations for each character. The only characters that get somewhat fleshed out is Scott Summers, aka Cyclops, Apocalypse to a certain degree, Jean Grey, and Magneto. That's about it. Everybody else, you just kind of have to take them as they are. So although this film has very good visual effects and they show some really stunning and some awesome things, each character does not get their moment to use their powers and really show what they can do. Like in Captain America Civil War, every main character had a moment where they got to use their powers. It was something visual, some kind of a big spectacle where you saw them doing their thing. In X-Men Apocalypse, we have a lot of characters that are kind of just there for a moment. They do something once or twice, but it's not so memorable where you're going to be talking about it after the film is over with. The acting of Jennifer Lawrence actually took away and hurt this film. The fact that the storyline is built so much up around Mystique, and that character is not as big as this character's become because it's being played by Jennifer Lawrence. The fact that her character is not in the blue paint, she's not in the blue makeup very often in the film, that gives me the feeling that she didn't really want to be in this role. I've heard it takes up to 8 to 10 hours to get her into the makeup, to get her dressed up as Mystique. That was something she didn't care for too much. And when you see the film, you see how much she's not in the blue paint. It kind of shows, and her acting is very lackluster. It's very unmotivated. Her acting is very stale in this film, so it looks like she doesn't want to be there. My own personal opinion, whenever they move on to the next X-Men films, they may seriously want to dwindle down the role of Mystique. Maybe even kind of take her out of it. Just say she went somewhere else, she's off on her own missions. Maybe she got sick of fighting against humanity, yada, yada, yada. But To keep doing these films with Jennifer Lawrence in such a prominent role, in my opinion, is not a good idea. Quicksilver has another one of those scenes that you will be talking about after the film is over with. They did a very good job of showing some of his character motivations and developing him and kind of showing us why he's moving and doing what he's doing. But Quicksilver, I don't want to go too far into it, but there's another great scene with Quicksilver using his powers and doing what he does. And a classic 80s song is rocking out as he's doing it. It's the most memorable scene of the whole film. Okay, so we're going to take a quick commercial break to check out this ad from our sponsor, MindbenderENT.com. The future is now.
Man, I have to go to MindbenderENT.com like 10 times a day. It has everything, man.
Everything?
And you can even access it through your phone.
I gotta see this.
And the ladies love it. Oh!
Yeah, I gotta see about this right now.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. Oh!
It was you.
It was you.
What is all this commotion? Don't tell me it's our website again. Not again.
But the ladies love it.
The ladies love it.
Ladies love it.
The ladies love it.
X-Men Apocalypse does a good job of capturing the 80s vibe. It feels like the 80s are really going on from everybody's haircuts. We got some Michael Jackson Thriller jackets going on. We got characters going to see some iconic films that were out around that time period. We got the Cold War going on, the tension between Russia and the United States. So very good job of capturing that vibe and presenting it in the movie. It is a very good backdrop for everything that's going on. So another thing with this film that I felt like should have been better was the fight scene at the end. It is a little anticlimactic. Apocalypse is such a powerful character that is going to take everybody to beat him, but at the same time, I feel like there should have been some definitive one-on-one fighting scenes. It should have been presented a little more definite than the way it was shown. So as opposed to it just being everybody doing X, Y, and Z and doing this, and that, and the third to stop him, I would have liked to have seen some mano-a-mano, some duke-it-outs with some of the bigger characters. There is a little bit that goes on between him and one character, but that one character doesn't fare so well going up against Apocalypse. Actually, another character doesn't either, but I would have liked to have seen a real fight, especially the way it was done in the comics. It was great. I feel like they should have took some of those elements and added them to this fight scene at the end. Okay, so although I did enjoy this film, and it does have some quirks with it, it's got some things that could have been done a little bit better. X-Men Apocalypse was a very enjoyable experience. It is a very good movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I do recommend it. So I'm going to have to give this movie a score of 78%. X-Men Apocalypse, 78% on the Mindbender Movie Meter score. It's a very entertaining film. It's got some great visuals. The storyline is pretty intricate. The fight at the end is a great visual spectacle, although it could have been a little bit more definitive. But this is a very enjoyable film, and I do recommend it. This has been Emperor Code Film Review for X-Men Apocalypse. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please make sure you check us out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Mindbender Entertainment. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Mindbender Entertainment. And make sure you check us out at the website, MindbenderENT.com. And remember, the future is now.